Alright, so as we continue with this packet tracer exercise and so on, I was just being informed that I used too much right. Understand? But we left out number 10, but we could combine both 10 and 12 at the same time. Right, so let's enable some passwords on the line console, and I'm already in that, so I'm going to go to line console 0. Alright, I'm going to do the line console and then line VTY afterwards 0. Alright, so I'm in line console now. As you can see that the prompt is changed, and first and foremost let me deal with the timeout. So I will go with exec timeout, and I can't remember the commands. I'm going to test tab, right? So I get the exact timeout, and the exact timeout, they say how much is 5 minutes, right? So if I type question mark, I should get 0 to in minutes time, so I'll type 5. If I press the next question mark, they will give us the minutes, right? So that is 5. All right, let me press question mark properly here, right? They give me the minutes. The seconds here, we didn't ask for seconds, so I'll just put 0 seconds, right? Because it does say 5 seconds only. Right, then I'm going to exit. So I've enabled that timeout. So I'm going to do the same thing now for VTY lines. So that would be, what is the command again? That would be line VTY, right, 0 to 4. Alright, and router 1, because on switch 1 is from 0 to 15. Router 1 is 0 to 4. Alright, so we're on that line VTY, and we're going to do the same thing. Timeout, line VTY. In fact, even before I do that, I'll just put log on local first, because I want to get to the local database. Right, log on local, and I'll go to the exact time now. Alright, and I will do the same thing. 5 0. Right, so I've enabled exact timeout on the VTY lines. Let me see, there's something that I know that we could be doing here too as well. Oh yeah, secure SSH access to the local database. We did that. We could, no, we didn't do this. We did the SSH version 2. We didn't secure SSH on the local database. This command would be, if I can recall this command, that would be transport. Yeah, if I can remember, transport. I'll just type transport and press a question mark, because that's secure. Right, transport input. Just gonna use that command, input SSH, right? Right, transport input SSH, right, on that particular line. Right, so I'm going to exit. Right, and now I could deal with the configuration now of enabling IP version 6, routing on router 1, right, and configure PCs and stuff. But before I go to 14, which I think I'll do 14 in another video, I will enable IP version 6 for routing on R1, which is basically the unicast address. So I'll put IP version 6 unicast routing, unicast, and I press tab, routing, and I'm going to press enter. Right, and I'm going to stop this tutorial for now. This will enable us to have some time to do the other one. In fact, I have some time. I could continue here, man. I could continue. Right, so we secure SSH and unicast and IP version 6. What I could do now is to configure IP addresses now on the interfaces. So I'm going to configure IP address. And that IP address, if you can recall, is 192.168, the router address for R1. Wow, I am so not doing this thing correctly here. I forget to even talk about the interface. So I'm going to go to the interface, gigabyte 0/0. I don't know how I could forget something like that. Right? And then I'm going to enable an IP address on that interface. So you see how it's important for you all to be careful what you're doing. .4. And if I can remember that the router address for the gigabyte 01 was 65 with an IP or a subnet mask of 255.255.255.192, right? And we will enable the no shutdown command. Alright, no shut. I'll just type no shut for short. And to bring up the interface, as you can see up here that the interface is already done, so the blink here. Right. What next to do? We could enable IP version 6 as we hear one time. So IP version 6 on this version 6. Wow, and I would need to copy and paste this, trust me, address. But I wouldn't do it, I would just type it out. IP version 6 address would be 2001, and remember the link local address, colon. I hope I'm typing this thing correctly. In fact, I wonder if I could copy and paste this thing here, boy. Let me see, IP version, right, cool. DB. Make sure I type this correct. DB8. And there's no room for errors here, people. No room for errors. DB8, especially typing an incorrect IP version 6 address, knowing that we configure those interfaces already up there. 1::1 with a /64 prefix. Right? I think I typed it correctly. Yes, because router 1 taking up the address for R1. Alright, let me just put this at the side here so you could see what we're doing. Right, 2001 DB8 CCC. Right, so far good. Right, so we configure that. We are now going to configure the link local address, so IP version 6 for gigabyte 1, because we done there already still. IP version 6 address. Whoops. Address. What's the link local address? That would be FA80::1, and this would be our link local. Alright, so far so good. Let's bring this over here and press enter. Wow, we looking good. Alright, so far we're looking good. Let me see how much time we have here still to see if we could continue. Yeah, we could probably try to configure gigabyte 010 now. Let me do that. So we're going to go to the interface, gigabyte 0/1. That is the other interface. There's this one here on this side, if you could remember the thing. So we go into that interface now. So we are now in interface gigabyte 0/1, and we're going to type the IP address for the first for the IP version address would be IP address, IP version 4 address, which is 192.168.4, and remember that was the first address on the fourth subnet of the first IP address of that subnet, that 193. And of course your subnet mask will be 255.255.255.240, if you can remember that now. And we will press enter, and then we'll put no shutdown for short. And the interface should be up, and yes, it is up on this side here. Oh my goodness, I'm actually doing something right. So let's enable IP version 6 quickly. IP version 6 address. Right, IP version 6 address, which is basically 2. So that will be 2001, if I can remember it correctly. I don't have to guess. It's 2. We're just changing the 2 here. Right, so 2001 DB. Alright, 1 2 3 4, and that would give us 2. Right, I hope I'm doing it correctly. Somebody tell me if I'm doing it wrong. and that also would be 1/64. Right, let me make sure that I have everything correct. I forget a 8. Somebody told me here. Whoa, they're not even giving me the option here to type the 8 in between here, so I have to go right back out, type the 8. You have to be careful how we doing these things, eh? 1 2 3 4, and that's 2 colon 1/64. So let's double check to make sure that we do this thing correctly. Right, router 1 is actually .12 as well. Right, cool. So we did it correctly. 1 2 3 4 colon 2 colon 1/64. Yeah, we did this correctly, man. Alright, 2001. Yep. Right, press enter. Whew. And of course, you know the IP version 6 link local address. Let me just look at it. Just go up arrow to see if I see it here. Right, because it's the same link local address on this gigabyte. I'm gonna press enter, and of course, I'm going to finish off by saying no. I don't need to go no shutdown because I already have the interface up. So I'm gonna go exit. Right, and I'm gonna exit again. Right, and I'm going to pause the vehicle and pause the video and then we'll do some additional configuration tasks afterwards. Alright, before I pause the video, let me just make sure and copy, because the last command was to copy the running config file, and then we will do the backup afterwards. Copy run start, right, to copy the configuration file. Yes, billet. And as we hear now, they ask us to back up the Tftp server, so we could do that quickly before our time is up to what? A remote host to, right? A Tftp server to, and accept the default name of a remote host. So I'm going to do this thing very quickly for you all. This is more advanced stuff here. You don't really need to know this now, but nonetheless. So I'm going to copy run to Tftp. Hope I spell it correctly. Tftp server, right, and I'm going to press enter, and address of the name of the remote host. The remote host would be the server address 192.168.4, and the server IP address, if I can remember, the server IP address was, what was the server IP? 194. That would be our remote host, right? Right in the configuration file. And that's it. When we come back, we'll do some configuration task.